Renee is in Chicago. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show, Renee.
Hi, thank you. Well, I'm in Lexington, Kentucky, going to Chicago. Dave, my question is, how do I let my mother and father that are 89 and 91, how do they retire financially secure? My dear sister stole $1 million to $1.5 million from them over the last 20 to 30 years. My brother-in-law scammed my parents. My sister was there to take money every week. My two brothers and I found out about this about 2 years ago. We knew my father was giving my sister money, but not totally wiping him out.
Okay, so technically speaking, she didn't steal it. They gave it to her.
Basically, Dad gave her quite a bit. However, she opened 29 charge cards, 10 years ago, 0% interest, maxed each one out.
In her name or his name?
In my mother's name, and in his name without his knowledge, and in my mother's name without her knowledge.
Okay, that's identity theft, and yes, that is theft, and yes, you go to jail for that. That's a federal crime. How long ago did she do that?
She's been doing this for about 20 years.
Is it stopped?
I'm sorry?
Has she done it recently?
Oh, up until 2 years ago, until we caught her.
Okay, so you've stopped it now.
We've totally stopped it.
Okay. Is she going to jail?
But in the meantime,
is she going to jail?
Well, I had elder abuse, Georgia elder abuse come out. The next day they called the sheriff. The sheriff said, let's put her in jail. My dad, who does have a little bit of dementia, said, no way. My mother, who knew nothing about this, all of a sudden said, I can't put my daughter in jail. Now, 2 years later, after my mother knows what extent that have left her broke, she said, let's put her in jail.
Probably too late now. Yeah.
It's too late, yeah. My brother-in-law is a scammer, got my dad hooked up into a scammer, gave him...
Okay, I got all that, but the bottom line is the money's gone, and nobody was willing to prosecute while you could, so now we just have two broke old people that gave their money away.
Yes. Now, they make a good salary. They make about $55,000 a year, and then they have assets that are about $65,000.
Okay. $65,000 worth of assets?
No, just income coming in.
Oh, I see. What assets do they have?
None. She took them all.
Okay, so what's creating the $65,000?
Pension, annuities. My dad.
Okay, an annuity is an asset. How much is in the annuity?
Oh, it's through the state. I don't know that.
Okay, so they don't own anything now.
No, it gets better. They had a home equity loan, and she went through $300,000 of that.
I'm done with her. Okay, I'm done with her. She's gone.
Go on.
They didn't prosecute her. Let's move on. Okay. All I want to talk about is them. How much money do they have now?
Cash?
Yeah.
None.
Okay. Do they own any real estate?
Yes.
Okay. How much?
They own a home worth about $300,000.
Good. Is it paid for?
No, because
what is owed on it?
There is only, I have paid off quite a bit. There was $125,000 HELOCs on it, home equity loans. I have paid all of them. Well, we have all together, my brothers and I, paid most of them off, and it's about $64,000 left.
Okay, good. And do they have? And they have no cash, and they have $65,000 coming in pensions, and $55,000 from something else. So they have $110,000 a year coming in.
No. $65,000 total. I'm very
total
sorry.
coming in. Okay.
Correct.
So they have a $65,000 income, and they have a $65,000 mortgage on a $300,000 house, and that's their total financial picture.
Correct.
Okay. Can they live on $65,000?
Well,
sure.
Dad has dementia.
Sure. They can live on $65,000.
They need help.
They can live on $65,000.
Okay.
I mean, he may end up in a nursing home, and you all may be funding some of that, or you may have to pay for some in-home care to come care for him. or you may sell the house and move them in with one of you all, but they can definitely make it on $65,000. And it's just a horrid shame that your sisters and her husband are a crook, and that no one was willing to put them in where they belong, in jail. But that's just gone. That's water under the bridge now. You can't live in that anger because no one was willing to do anything about it at the time. The people that were necessary to sign the arrest warrants were not willing to sign the arrest warrants. And I understand that. I mean, it's heartbreaking for your own kid to be a crook. I get that. Or your own sister to be a crook. I get that. But that's all in the past now. We're down to pretty simply 2 old people, one with dementia, that make $65,000 a year income, and they have a $65,000 mortgage on a $300,000 house. That's it. And so you've either got to downsize them in house and get rid of the mortgage, and then they can afford to bring in help in that situation to take care of him, or we've got to find different living arrangements for him if he's unable to care for himself. And that's the process you go through. But I'm sorry. What a horrible, horrible thing that you guys have been through. And I don't blame you for being angry. But I will tell you this. I would suggest just putting it behind you, because it's done. It's done. It's over. I mean, I wouldn't be in the same room with her. And I certainly don't want her near anything that has a number on it that regarding anybody's finances. And if she comes anywhere near your parents again, for God's sakes, put her in jail immediately. She's got to. She and her scam artist husband have to stay away from them because they don't have enough. They don't have any more money to get. I mean, she's bled them dry, like you said, and they're obviously scum. Unbelievable. So it's just, man. Thanks for calling in. You know, a large percentage of identity theft is by someone you know. I mean, there's 2 kinds of identity theft. There's the crooks, you know, the people scamming the internet, phishing the internet. You know, they're in Russia or something or wherever they are, right? And they're scamming the internet, and they're just cleaning out people's social security numbers and identity issues. You know, they clean out, Equifax, and they get the information. They hack Equifax, right, and get the information, and they use that. That's a classic internet crook. And when we think of identity theft, that's who we like to think of, this mysterious person in a basement somewhere pecking on a computer. But truthfully, it's usually your sister or your parents or your kids or your cousin. Truthfully, it's somebody that was your roommate. And that's the 2 types of identity theft that are out there. And some identity theft protection things do not cover familial, meaning family, identity theft. It's one of the things that we like about endorsing Xander's identity theft. And the reason we all have Xander's identity theft on all of us here at Ramsey is because it covers that. And, then you wouldn't go and pay off the credit cards in the mother's name that the sister opened. You would simply turn it over to Xander's identity theft people, and they would pursue the whole thing and get that wiped out rather than wiping out the money. Same thing with the HELOCs. If the HELOCs were illegally signed without power of attorney, you can't sign someone else's name. That's called identity theft. Even if it's your mother, even if it's your child, even if it's your wife, you can't sign anyone else's name other than yours unless you have a power of attorney. That's called identity theft. It's a federal crime, you guys. It's stealing. And when you do that to your parents or you do that to your own kids, you're what's known as scum. Unbelievable bottom feeders. Wow. Renee, I'm so sorry. Sorry you guys are facing this. I'm mad with you, but let's move on and go help mom and dad. This is the Dave Ramsey Show.